Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind. You can change your hair, your clothing, your address, your spouse, but if you don't change your mind, the same experience will perpetuate itself over and over again because everything outwardly changed, but nothing inwardly changed.
If you want something out of life, if you want to change yourself, if you want to acquire something, if there's some goal that you want to reach, changing your behaviors, overcoming negative habits, it's challenging. It's hard. Most people go through life never discovering what their talents are. Most people never develop their talents.
The only thing that's going to make you happy, my friend, in this year or any other, is to step up. It's to raise the standard. It's to discover what you're capable of and feel that incredible power pushing through whatever's holding you back and get to the other side of more of your true self. That's what this game's all about.
When you step into your fears and continue to push yourself to go on, something happens for you.
If you look at somebody who's really successful, you think, wow, I mean, they're so amazing, they're such a genius. You got to dig underneath, you got to remember something. People are rewarded in public for what they've practiced for years in private.
If you don't develop the courage to do that which has been given you to do, and you spend a lot of time going around trying to convince other people or trying to get their approval, what will happen is that you will lose your nerve. And other people will convince you that what you're doing doesn't have any value, and you'll give up on your dream. How much time do you have left? How much time do you have left? When you start thinking about that, we don't know. Most of us don't use the stuff that we have brought into the universe. Stop wasting valuable time. If you want something, you have got to be relentless. You've got to learn how to become resourceful. You've got to learn how to become creative. The power to hold on in spite of everything, the power to endure. This is the winner's quality. The hunger, the ability to face defeat again and again without giving up. This is a winner's quality. What this power is, I cannot say. All I know is that it exists, and it becomes available only when a man or a woman is in that state of mind in which he or she knows exactly what he or she wants and is fully determined not to quit until they find it. There's greatness in you, and you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. I'm going to harness my will, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. I deserve this. Most people give up on themselves easily. You know the human spirit is powerful. There's nothing as powerful. It's hard to kill the human spirit. You are unstoppable. Live your life with passion, with some drive. Most of us go through life without brakes on, holding back. Decide that you're going to push yourself. You got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective. Telling yourself every day, here I go again. And I got what it takes. This is my day.
There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. But basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long.
One of the major things Shoaff taught me when I met him, he said, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. And Schoaf taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. He quoted me a Bible phrase that says, "As you think, so you become." How awesome.
We are how we think. Your brain is divided into two halves, positive and negative, good and evil. Ain't no neutral ground in your brain. It's either positive and good or negative and evil. You are in charge. You're the boss of the factory.
And once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want, or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life.
Here's how you build anything. Select the right ingredients, keep out the wrong ingredients, and it starts with thought. Everything starts with thought. So you must be wise and careful what you think about, because that starts everything. You got to be wise and careful. See, it doesn't matter who hands you the bad stuff. It doesn't matter where you get the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your bank account, wherever you get it.
So decide that you're going to take some time to work on you, that you deserve that from yourself, that your life deserves some prime time, because you are creating your own production. As Michael Todd would say, you are the star of your show. You are the director. You're writing the script. And you will determine whether your life is a hit or flop. You determine that. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. You got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, "Shut up." I was going to give a presentation, and this voice inside of me saying, "You can't do this. You don't have everything it takes." I shut up. I'm behind on my bills, and you're telling me what I can't do. I have got to do it. That's why you got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life. I don't believe this. I know this.
Let me show you how this works. You wake up in the morning and you say, "Man, I don't feel myself today. I got up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm not a morning person. Man, I hate my alarm clock went off this morning. I got to get out here in this traffic. I'm going to drive down here to there. I don't even like these people on my job." And on and on and on. And your day starts tumbling into what you ordered at the top of the day. You could wake up in the morning and you say, "You know what? Today is going to be a great day today. I expect something really good to happen for me today. Man, thank you, Lord, for waking me up this morning." Same brain. "Man, I can't wait to go to work today. It may not be the job I want, but at least I got a job. I'm so grateful I got a car to drive to work today. Hey, man, at least I got a check coming in. I sure want to thank you, Lord, for this roof over my head today. I appreciate the fact that I don't have a car, but at least I can walk to the train. Man, this is going to be great today." That's how your mind works 24/7. It never turns off.
Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most.
You have got to change the way you think. It is the whole determining factor of where you go in life. We are all where we are today because we thought ourselves to this position. If you don't like the position, think yourself out of it.
Every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. And you decide what goes into your mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want to in your mental factory, because you've got to live with the result.
I want to suggest now that you really put on your thinking hat. Thinking is the highest function of which a human being is capable, And all the great leaders, all down through history, have been in complete and unanimous agreement that you and I become what we think about. Now play with that for a moment. It's a subject that is not taught in school. It's the highest function of which we're capable. And every great leader that has ever lived all told us that you and I become what we think about most of the time. Dr. Rampell wrote a paper, Tools for Teaching Thinking. He said thinking is a skill which can be learned just as we learn skills such as typing and playing the piano. Now, he said few public schools offer courses devoted expressly to teaching thinking. Rather, we are expected to learn and teach thinking as a byproduct of learning mathematics, reading, science, history, trade, and so forth. And he said we do, in fact, learn a lot about thinking in this way. The trouble is, we learn our thinking skills in bits and pieces, and we never put it together as an overall picture. If asked to describe what all is required in order to think effectively, most people would be at a loss to give a complete account. Thus, we are unable to assess our own thinking skills or systematically teach the skill of thinking to others. Now, consider this for a moment. When you think in pictures. I'm going to suggest that you think of the home you live in, and as you do, realize that an image of your home comes onto the screen of your mind. It's almost as if there's a screen running right through the center of our head, and the second we think of our home, the picture of the home comes onto the screen of our mind. Now I want to suggest that you think of your automobile. And the second you think of your automobile, the picture of the home is gone, and the picture of the automobile is there. Think of where you work or go to school. And bang, 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 just like that, the picture changes. We literally think in pictures. Now I'm going to suggest that you think of your mind. Now, when most people think of their mind, they get an image of the brain. You see, mind is an activity, and body is the manifestation of that activity. Your brain is comprised of hundreds of thousands of cells. Into these cells, we impregnate pictures or images. And as we think, we activate that particular group of brain cells, and the picture that's in them flashes on the screen of the mind. Now, when you think of yourself and you think of money, what kind of a picture do you get? You know, the vast majority of people get a picture of poverty. And what we want to do is take and build cells of recognition in your brain for prosperity. Now, we're suggesting that you start to see money. Whenever you think of money, see this stuff as an obedient, diligent servant. You're the master, it's the servant. And don't ever get that equation reversed. Lack and limitation can only exist when we make room for them in our mind. But prosperity consciousness knows no lack and it knows no limitation. Now, I want to suggest that you resolve to just completely take the lid off your marvelous mind. Just blow it away. And let the greatness start to flow around in there. The type of thoughts and ideas which occupy your consciousness are of paramount importance in developing prosperity in your life. Your mind is either in an orderly or a confused state. Everything starts in our mind. Well, if we're going to have order in our mind, we must have an image of our mind, and most people don't have. So what we're going to do, now you can sit and you can watch this over and over and over again, because there's going to be parts of it that'll seem a little confusing to you first time through. But as you play it over and over and over again, the confusion will leave and order is going to come to your mind. There's many times I'll take a book and I'll read the same paragraph over and over again. This book of Napoleon Hill's, I've been reading that for 27 years. Now, it's not such that I'm such a slow learner. It's just there's so much depth in the book.
You would not believe what some people have got in their house to read. You would not believe. One of the best dressed up words I know for a lot of it is trash. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. You might as well try making a cake with cement.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
I asked a man one time, "What are your goals for this month?" And he said, "If I could just scrape up enough money to pay these lousy bills." That was his goal. Hey, I'm not saying it isn't a goal. It is, but it's such a poor goal. It certainly isn't inspiring. You don't jump out of bed on Monday morning and say, "Oh boy, another chance to go out and scrape up the money to pay these lousy bills." The point is that goals should be fun. They should be big, challenging, rewarding. They should allow you to grow. Remember too, that the major purpose of having a goal is not just to acquire the goal. The major reason for setting goals is to compel yourself to become the person it takes to achieve them. In other words, attaining the goal is of secondary importance. What's far more important is what you become in the pursuit of it. The greatest value in becoming a millionaire, for example, is not the $1 million. The greatest value is the skills, the knowledge, the discipline, and the leadership qualities you acquired in becoming a millionaire. It's the experience you acquired in planning, development, strategy. It's other qualities you acquired, such as courage, commitment, and willpower, to attract $1 million. You could lose everything you attained, but you could not lose the skills, knowledge, and experience you have obtained. Even better than having is being. Here's a most important question to spend some time answering. What kind of person will I have to become to get all I want? Write down a few thoughts on that. Write down some skills you'll have to develop, for example, and some of the things you're going to have to learn. Just spend a little time writing a few sentences on this. What kind of person will I have to become to get all I want? The answer to this will give you some personal development goals. Remember that income does not far exceed personal development. All of us have to do this kind of self-examination. I have to look at my own life and say, well, here's what I want, but am I willing to become what it takes to get what I want? If I'm too lazy, if I don't want to learn, read, study, and grow to become that kind of person, then I cannot attract what I want. Now, either I have to change my wants or I have to change myself. Here are a few more key points I'd like to share with you on goals and designing your future. First, if you don't right now feel as if you're equipped to get all you want, just remember, ability will grow to match your strong dreams. That's why the goal-setting process we've discussed is so important. The more you work on this, the more ideas you will get on how you can change, how you can grow. I am nowhere near the person I was when I met Mr. Shope 25 years ago. I'm not that person anymore. I've changed. There's nothing you can do about the past, but you can do a great deal about your future. You don't have to be the same person you were yesterday. You can make changes in your life, absolutely startling changes, in a fairly short period of time. You can make changes you can't even conceive of now. If you give yourself a chance, your abilities will grow. You have untapped talents and potential that you haven't even reached for yet. And as time goes on, you'll be able to reach deeper and deeper. The first thing you'll know, you'll be able to do things you never thought you could do. You'll be able to handle things you never thought you could handle. You'll have ideas that you've never had before. All of this is sparked by the goal-setting process. When you know what you want, and you want it badly enough, the answers will come to you. I can't tell you why it worked. All I know is it worked.
If you can become a person, engage others, you will now become an extraordinary leader, not a mediocre or good one. As far as I'm concerned, good is the enemy of great. Corny as it sounds. So think about it. I'll give you an example of this book that I did. I did this book because back in 2008, I felt like I was back in my childhood. Everybody around me was suffering. And I hate suffering. Most of the skills I developed is because I want to take somebody else suffering and take them to a place where they have joy and aliveness and health and vitality and abundance or whatever I can do to help. And so I've got the guy that cuts my hair. My barber is like, his kid can't go to college. He's lost half what he's got to do. A billionaire client of mine is no longer a billionaire. He's feeling equally bad, he thinks, but suffering is suffering in somebody's mind, right? And so I thought to myself, something's got to be done. And then like most of us, somebody's going to do something. In 2010, when things actually got worse and the system wasn't changed, I started reading everything I could read, started watching everything I could watch, and I watched a documentary called Inside Job. Anybody here see Inside Job? If you didn't see it, it was Matt Damon did the documentary on it, and it won the Academy Award. And it actually walked through systematically and showed how the entire world economic experience
our entire economy as a world was almost destroyed by a few people, and they identified who they were, how they did it, they documented it all, and then they showed what happened to them. And what happened to them, does anybody know? No, not nothing. Nothing would have been a reward compared to what they should have got. They were actually put in charge of the turnaround, and they were given your money and mine. We were taxed so they could put their money back where it belonged. So at the end of this film, depending upon your personality, if you haven't seen it, I should warn you, you'll have one or two reactions. You'll either be very depressed or very pissed. I was on the piss side. I was so angry, and I thought to myself, nothing's been done. This is insane. And something's got to be done. I thought, everybody says something can be done, but what can I do? And I thought, you know what? I've got access. For 21 years, most people think I'm a happy, bouncing around, positive thinking, screaming guy on an infomercial from 20 years ago, but I have continued to grow, not taller, hopefully. But in all that time, for 21 years, I've coached Paul Tudor Jones, who's one of the top 10 financial traders in the history of the world. He's a man who's made more money than almost anyone on earth, along with George Soros and a few other names you may know. But Paul's really unique in that Paul found himself in a position that in 1987, when the stock market crashed, the largest percentage in a day still to this day, he made 20% when the whole world was losing everything. He made 200% that year for his client. Just unbelievable. And then it was like the guy that walked on the moon. What do you do if you walk on the moon? You see that, you look at that incredible view of the earth. It's you seeing it, not a photograph. You come back to the earth, you shake the president's hand, you have a ticker tape parade. Now what do? And a lot of those astronauts, if you know the story, actually became depressed because they didn't have what I call a compelling future, something to look forward to. So Paul had a little fall back, and I was called in to turn him around. Came in and started studying everybody around him, figured out what it took to do it, and built a strategy to put him back in state. He's been successful and made money every year for 21 straight years. Every single year. There's no one in his class that's done that. No one. Pretty amazing. I was with him to give example. We were together, and back if you remember, in the tech bubble of 2000, it blew up. Paul made money. Right by him, side by side. Every single day. He's emailing me every single day. I'm talking in some ways, communicating it, or I'm going to see him every 3 or 4 months to be there in person to make sure we keep tweaking the system. I'm not there to be a positive thinking coach. You didn't need that crap. I'm a prepare for anything coach. How do we figure out the strategy? I've always been a strategist. I've never believed in positive thinking. I never told people you should go to your gym or go to your garden, better yet, and chant, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. I'm like, here's the weed, let's pull it out. That's what I do with him. 21 years. 21 years includes 9/11, and when the whole markets are blowing up, making money. 21 years includes everything we saw in the subprime crisis, making money. It includes when we all went through the dropping gold, those are associated to it not long ago. So I've been there with all those pieces, and I got a chance to learn from this guy side by side, and I've been able to contribute to him in a significant way.
You'd be shocked how many ministers crumble because they don't have support, and secretly want to get out of the ministry, and are secretly burned out, and are secretly tired, and their marriages are in jeopardy, and their minds are perplexed because they're doing too much. Leaders, if you are doing anything in your church that somebody else could do, you shouldn't be doing it. Good leadership is working yourself out of a job. And if you are busy doing stuff that somebody else could do, then you're a control freak. And you need to give up control and allocate that over to somebody that you can trust so that you can reserve yourself for your highest and best use. I want you to ask yourself a question every time you take an assignment as a leader. Is this my highest and best use? Or am I busy doing something that somebody under me could do? If somebody on your team could do it, you shouldn't be doing it. Because as you go and as you grow, you must reserve yourself for your highest and best use. And if you will relinquish your need to control everything, you will create a place for somebody to serve and alleviate your stress and be better at your highest and best use when you are not distracted by the trivia of doing things that God has called somebody else to do. Elijah comes along and he runs behind Elijah and he says, wait a minute, man, wait a minute, your hands look dusty. Let me pour water on your hands. And Elijah said, in all the time I was calling down fire from heaven, not one person on Mount Carmel ever did that. Nobody helps me be me. And so we've called you to this meeting today because it's not just the people who I had stand that are important. It's the people who are sitting. Because if you don't pour water on the hands of the people who stand, they may not be here next year. And they will be talked about and they will be ostracized, but they died for the lack of you. Their arms got heavy for the lack of you. Their marriages suffered because they were busy doing things that the church said somebody else could do, and they got the divorce for the lack of you. Because there was nobody close to them who urged them to take a vacation, not just going to another conference. A real vacation does not have seminars. I I took a bunch of my partners on a cruise, in fact, we flew out from here. We flew up to here and went on an Alaskan cruise, and all that week we were on the cruise, my wife and I. When you're on a cruise with your partners and stuff, you can't leave your room with it. The moment you come out the door, there's cameras flashing and people coming up to you and wanting prayer and wanting to discuss scriptures and stuff, so you're kind of in your room like a hostage. When you come out the room, it's like, and they come up and they do whatever it is they want to do, and they say, we hate to bother you on your vacation. I looked at them and I said, this is not our vacation. This is not our vacation, because if it was, you wouldn't be here. Can you live with somebody who has disappointed you? Watch out for people who fight stuff all the time. When you are always talking about something, don't be surprised when you find them warming themselves by the fire of the very thing. It's eating at us. It is not what we are eating that's making us gain weight. It's what's eating at us. It's eating at our rest. It's eating at our joy. It's eating at our marriages. because the suicide rates are going up while we are quiet and silent and politically correct and dancing all over the world. Our kids are blowing their brains out, and I will not keep silent. I'm tired of short caskets. I'm tired of 15-year-olds being killed in drive-by shootings. Somebody has got to have the courage to talk about life that is not just a straight line, and not just saying I'm not his disciple. He said, I don't even know him. It's a shame, but it's true. A lot of people say a lot of stuff until it gets real, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, to richer and for poor, till you pee on yourself. When it gets worse, shame. I was reading a non-canonical book called The Gospel of Judas, and in it purports the ideology that Judas really wasn't trying to betray Jesus. He was trying to put Jesus in a situation where he would have to overthrow Rome. And he thought that if he got Jesus in an open confrontation with Rome, that Jesus would show his power. And the trick blew up in his face. And he didn't know they were going to kill him. If he knew they were going to kill him, then why did he hang himself? And some of us have made decisions that cost other people their lives and their futures. And it's hard to live when you got the masterful plot and the plot goes wrong. We can't tell when our friends turn jealous, when our wives fall out of love, when our husbands stop caring. I'm talking about a guy who couldn't get rid of his shame, so he got rid of his life. I'm talking to somebody out there who has a hard time living with a dark secret. Judas didn't have to hang himself, and you don't have to blow your brains out. Jesus died for your kind of shame, for what you did to yourself, to your family, for what you did to your future. You do not have to go and hang yourself. God still wants you. He still cares about you. Isn't it funny when your name gets bigger than you? When you got a great name and a great person and a great professional and a great the other, and you got a great name, but you got a messy past. Somebody right now is in a situation of fluctuation, and you are not living up to your highest ideals. You smell like swine, but he still wants you. A lot of us don't know what's in us, what we're capable of, because we buy into the myth and we believe our own headlines. You're a rock about this, but you are scared to death about that.
Hang on. I have Miss Columbia on my talk show. Miss Columbia gave me the highest rating I've ever had in the history of my 4-year-old talk show. T-Mobile called and paid me millions of dollars to do a Super Bowl commercial. A cha-ching. They paid me so much money, I go out there next year and say the wrong name again. You got to wait and see what God got for you. I told my wife, I said, I always wanted a Super Bowl commercial. Said had one, they never gave me one. He gave me all of that, increased my global persona. We now have villas in 12 countries. Free villas that we can go to, 8-bedroom villas. I can come for a month, me and my family absolutely free. See what God do? You got to work through the adversity. When adversity hits y'all and it's coming, remember there's a lesson and a blessing. You got me? All right, next thing I need for y'all to know, this is the third lesson. Quit asking God to make your life easy, because he ain't gonna do that. See, people, y'all go to church, man. Y'all got all these scriptures y'all memorized, don't apply none of them to your life. God ain't finna make your life easy. Lord Jesus, Lord, I don't want this on me. Sorry. Lord, take away all my worries. That's you worried. Lord, I don't wanna do this. Lord, I'm so tired. But y'all doing? Quit asking God for that. You got to have some faith. See, listen to me. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You got to have faith, man. If you gonna graduate and whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you gotta put some faith on it. You can get through with all this here. You're gonna get your degree, and man, I can't tell you how big this is. But it's gonna be a piece of sheepskin that's gonna hang on your wall. You got to go do something. You gotta get some faith in your life. Lord Jesus, I want my life to be easy. It ain't finna be easy. You're gonna lose some loved ones along the way. You're gonna not get the job you want. Somebody on your job one day gonna come in there and hand you a slip of paper and tell you they don't even want you here no more. One of your companies is gonna up and relocate, and you ain't gonna have the money or the resources to go with the company. You're gonna go outside the club one day, your car gonna be gone. You're gonna drive up one day, your house gonna be on fire. Now your house fully ablaze. What is you asking God to take the fire off your house for? Your house is already on fire. Lord Jesus, had them drive my car back up here. Thieves don't return cars. Faith don't make it easy, man.
That's everybody's dilemma, I think, these days. A woman married to a baseball player, as to say, he's going to be gone most of the time. Would that be the ideal marriage? And the answer is certainly not. But should a man follow his talent and his unusual skills? He probably says yes. She says, well, at times I wish he was a banker and not a home run hitter. You know, it's a dilemma for all of us. How to balance it all, make sure we don't sacrifice some values for others. It's difficult for two people to grow at the same rate. One becomes ambitious and one's a little more, let's say, at home. How do you balance that out and make it work? It's never ending in terms of its challenge. A wife who has a career and children and husband and social responsibilities and friends and church and whatever, it's a big challenge. My current heroes are single mothers and school teachers. How teachers have the patience to work with kids and try to get the message across and do a good job. They have my highest admiration. And then a single mother with children. Wow, that's probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. How to balance career, work, job, raise the kid, make sure spiritually, personally, socially they're okay. It just seems almost impossible. But human beings have the unique ability to do the impossible. They make it work. How many stories have we heard in our own country? A mother who scrubbed floors for years and put her kids through college, and now they're all professionals and lawyers and a credit to society. Les Brown's got a great story. A mama who really cared, but did the menial stuff till finally he got going and could help. Some people's lives, we look and we say, how do they do that? And we think we're a little pressed, and how do you balance career and fortune and all that? Hey, try scrubbing floors to put your kids through college, right? And then you say, hey, my problems are pretty simple and easy. But we all have the push and pull. A woman wants a hero and a successful husband. She says, go conquer the world and be home by 5 o'clock. He says, wow, let's see. How do I do that, right? Would she be happy with half the world, right? If I conquered just half the world and got home by 6. Let's do a little compromising here. But anyway, it is a challenge. When I was growing up, Papa worked and Mama stayed home. I was raised in sort of that atmosphere. Papa figuring out enough to take care of himself and his family. But, you know, those days have all changed. Now the dignity of career, right? I believe, you know, women have equal rights to follow their own star, but then to do what you're ambitious to do and qualified to do and learn the skills to do and still make a relationship work and family and church and society. And it is a challenge. But I think we're up to it. At least we've got plenty of help here on information and books. People that have been through it and said, hey, here's a couple of danger signals. It's okay as long as, but when this, and you say, okay, I appreciate that advice. And sure enough, you're going along and then you say, wow, I remember I was told these couple of danger signals here. Looks like I'm pretty close to that. I better back away.